The political panel all-stars up shortly, Whānau. But now this week's extra one-on-one in 10 with Alliance Party leader Victor Billot on his historic union affiliation win. How does the left fight an economic election, and how does the left fight the global rise of the far right? Kia ora, comrade. Welcome to the show, and thank you for being available to the Fourth Estate. Your democracy is grateful.
No, thank you.
Victor, congratulations on your historic union affiliation with the staunchest union in New Zealand, the Maritime Union of New Zealand. They decided to back the Alliance Party this election, which is surely a clear signal that working people are sick to death of the Labour Party's incrementalism when it comes to supporting working people, doesn't it?
Well, I just think the Maritime Union, in their own words, have said, they're continuing their affiliation to the Labour Party. We have no problem with that whatsoever, but we're very grateful that they've come on board and shown that support to us. As you say, they're the oldest and probably one of the most high-profile unions in New Zealand. And I think that the fact they've affiliated to the Alliance Party pretty much shows we're back to represent the working class in this country.
If New Zealand is to adapt to the climate change realities we have now, a fully funded, publicly owned rail system linked to a new inshore coastal shipping network is an essential step forward. Why is keeping the ports in our infrastructure and public ownership so important?
Well, I think it's about strategic control. And what we're seeing overseas is when you lose control of those assets, especially ports, basically it's just another pipeline of cash. It's going out of the country and it can really destabilise your entire transport infrastructure network. That's a really big thing for the Alliance. Obviously, pro-rail, we want to see coastal shipping back up in this country.
Preach. We seem to be a nation of foreign landlords who just milk monopoly rentals from this country. I'm looking at the banking oligopoly and the billions that leave New Zealand that should stay here and fund stuff here, but it all goes overseas because we have these foreign landlords. Will we see from the Alliance Party an economic policy that puts economic sovereignty at the top?
Yeah, and more than economic sovereignty. I mean, we're hearing a lot about fresh ideas in the election. So we've got a few of our own, and I think really we're the only Socialist party running in this election, and we don't beat around the bush for that. And part of that is economic sovereignty, but it's not just economic sovereignty. It's about getting the wealth and the power of the working class majority in this country back up there.
Yes.
We've been taking a hammering for the last 30 or 40 years.
Oh, have we what?
And I think, the establishment parties, especially the opposition, are not, they're not taking the fight to the right wing. And that's what we intend to do.
Where do we find and fund this extra investment into our infrastructure?
Well, it has to come. We're not going to support it coming in from basically public-private partnerships, which are just another way of transferring control of our economy to multinationals.
Right.
So we're going to have a major redo of our tax system. And we're also calling for not just keeping control of public assets, we want to get them back. And the key ones there would be things like power.
Yes.
And massive problems with, as you've mentioned, with oligopolies, with the banking system. We want to get Kiwi Bank in a much more central position there. And even looking, as they've done in New York City, maybe a publicly owned cooperative style supermarket kind of system too.
Yes.
Just to provide a bit of an option there for people who are struggling at the moment, which is about a half to 60% of the population, I'd say.
The working classes globally are being manipulated by the far right into racist attacks on migrant workers. Domestic workers look at migrant workers and fear their wages and conditions are being undermined. So surely the solution is to ensure universal union membership of all migrant workers so domestic workers know their migrant worker brothers and sisters aren't a threat. Will the Alliance Party push for universal union membership?
Definitely. I mean, obviously, being affiliated to the Maritime Union means says a bit about where we're coming from. But I'd just like to say there, you're quite right. And one very old idea that we seem to be missing out on these days in political debate is the old idea about international solidarity. I mean,
Yes.
100 years ago, that was a very common idea.
Right.
Workers of the world unite. So, I mean, I don't think that's a bad idea. And I think we're back into that. We're against prejudice. We're against bigotry. We say people need to work together.
Amen. Left-wing politics is dominated now by middle-class identity politics and the professional managerial class rather than working-class economic solidarity. How will the Alliance change that, and what will you focus on in election 26?
Well, I think that's our key focus, is to get back that sense of solidarity, providing a working-class voice. We're not trying to appeal to everyone. We're trying to appeal to people who are really concerned about how our society's tanking, how the majority of people are now struggling with the basics,
Yes.
how we have to subsidise workers to actually survive on a
Right.
day-to-day basis. Yep. And so we're working on things like the union stuff you've talked about,
Yes.
housing, and one of our other policies is the Kiwi Works, which I describe as a 21st century Ministry of Works.
Oh, God, we
can actually
need
start
that.
to build
Oh.
our own infrastructure and housing again,
Right.
which was able to be done in the 1930s. So
Yes.
I'm not quite sure why we can't do it now.
Who would the Alliance rule out working with this election?
Look, I mean, if we were in a position to make choices like that, I'd say obviously we would be backing, for the possibility, if there was a Labour, the Greens, their parties on our side of the.
But who would you rule out? Who would you rule out, Victor?
Oh, who would I rule out? Obviously, we can't support National
Right.
Act, New Zealand First,
There you
parties
go.
like that.
There you go. That's what
And
I
I
wanna
don't
hear.
know about the Opportunities Party. I mean, I guess that all depends on what side of the fence they decide to sit on.
Indeed, indeed. Finally, Victor, 3 bottom lines the Alliance would take into any Labour-led government. What are they? Give me the 3.
I would say public health
Yes.
investment. I would say housing,
Yes.
and trying to push our Ministry of Works idea.
Yep.
And I would also say moving towards a much stronger policies to get unions back in the mix as a way
Yes.
of delivering for people in New Zealand.
Yes, yes, preach. Thank you so much for your insight and your oversight this evening. All power to your arm, comrade.
Thank you.
Be well.